Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. I have a bit of a different presentation for you tonight, highly educational, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. So my name is Maddy Maxe. I co-founded a fashion and technology lab based in New York. So basically what we do is we develop innovative textiles, biometric wearables, basically anything that goes on the body and can help improve life. We consider this to be fashion tech, but often people ask us, so what are you doing? What is fashion tech? And I thought this would be a great time to explain what we think it is. But before I begin, I would love to hear if anybody has any suggestions as to how they would categorize fashion tech. So please just shout it out. What do you think of? Oh, empty room. Assistive clothing. Yeah, there's this, actually two great examples. There's this great doggy jacket, actually, that inflates and deflates depending on how the dog is feeling. And it's supposed to help calm down your pets, which is amazing. And there's also a jacket with built-in structure by one of our architect friends in New York and the jacket's made to help improve posture. So definitely assistive clothing. Things like that are very popular. Any other suggestions? 3D printing, yeah, and rapid prototyping. I think that everybody's very excited for February 2013 or 2014. All the patents expire, and we should see some crazy stuff happening in that space. Sure. Anything else? Yeah, absolutely. I can't see you out there, but yeah, but biometrics are going to be huge, and all of these things tie into the fashion and technology scene. So here we go. So we see fashion and technology as that great little space where design, math and science, and tech as in hardware and software all meet. We think that that sweet spot is where we can drive innovation. So what does it mean to be innovative? Well, we think that it involves improved functionality in combination with improved sustainability. So for example, with Katie's dancewear pants, it has improved functionality as well as better sustainability being made in the United States. All of those are things that drive the industry forward, and we think it's essential to think of when inventing new things in the fashion and technology space. So looking at design, how can design affect both sustainability and functionality? For sustainability, we can design things such as multi-use garments as well as no and low waste patterns. A great thing to think about when designing no and low waste patterns is to look at a piece of paper. So if you can cut out a pattern from a piece of paper, a scaled down pattern without any extra white space left, then it's likely to work the same way for a large roll of fabric. By reducing waste, we reduce resources and therefore have less of an impact on the environment. In addition, for multi-use garments, we can consume less, which has the same sort of positive impact on the environment. And these things can only really be improved by great design. On the other hand, for functionality, it's so essential to have fantastic design when it comes to the frictionless integration of technology. So if you're going to have a biometric jacket that takes your data and therefore responds appropriately whether you're cold or warm, but the jacket is really unattractive and it doesn't fit well, you're probably not going to buy it. So we have to make sure that things fit in well today's aesthetic, and we have to guide people towards the future when it comes to the design of fashion, tech, wearables, etc. So then looking into math and science. How can we make more sustainable garments or wearables in general using mathematics and the scientific theory? We like to look at data-driven production, which often doesn't happen a lot in the fashion industry, especially with big conglomerates. So as I'm sure a ton of you know, fashion runs on this very insular cycle where trend forecasters tell designers what to make, and then buyers know it's been trend forecasted, so they buy it, and then trend forecasters send out a new message, and it never really gets back to the consumer. Nobody's really looking at the data that consumers are sending their way by what they purchase, unless they're small companies that have to think quick and respond quickly. And that's only been accessible through e-commerce platforms and vertically integrated company designs. On the other hand, we can look at environmentally friendly development, so making garments that are much more friendly for Las Vegas weather versus New York winter weather, which isn't quite as nice as it is here, and integrating smart textiles that can respond and react well with your direct environment to truly fit the function of clothing, because after all, it's meant to protect us and keep us warm. And if we can enhance that through looking at the environment around us, it can be so monumental. And that also leads to biomimicry. So especially now, a lot of architects and designers are looking at biology to decide what they should make and design next. Because, of course, biology is the closest thing to perfection that we have. If you look at the muscular structure, or the skeletal structure, I apologize, of a sea sponge, you can see that's this complicated mesh and combination of all of these different ligaments and figures. And it's really fascinating that this is something that makes a functioning organism. How can we take these different concepts and structures in order to make our clothing and our consumer goods more functional? And this is a great thing to think about. And then for our good friend technology, how can we make things that are more sustainable using tech? We think that it's important to look at both software and hardware solutions. So software tends to lend itself towards customization, so that you can go on that website and click on a button and make a custom t-shirt and have it come to you. It's that user interface that's so essential to give us access to the back end, which is the factory and the companies. We also like to look at automation techniques, which often comes down to hardware. So if anybody has ever sewn, you've probably seen a buttonholer machine. It's this massive, like 200-pound machine or so that's used specifically for binding the fabric around where a button should be placed. If this machine didn't exist, then the process would have to be done rather complicatedly through a regular sewing machine or by hand. And by automating these small parts of the process, we can create a better manufacturing system. And ideally, someday we'll be able to automate a massive part of the process and create better patterns that make for a better manufacturing process in total. As far as functionality goes, technology can be very helpful with what we like to call life assisting, so making life a little bit better and easier. There's this great rain jacket that just came out, and it has induction charging in the pocket. So, when it's rainy and it's gray outside and you realize that your phone just died and you don't know where you're going, there's nothing worse than that sinking feeling. With an induction charger in your pocket, you can put your phone in your pocket, it'll charge right up. You can hop in, grab a coffee. When you come back out, your phone's ready to go, and you can get to your destination safely. So we love things like this, using technology to help our lives function more seamlessly. So in conclusion, when looking at innovation in relation to technology, design, and math and science, we tend to see three macro trends. That comes into play with the quantified self movement, which is often taking biometrics or your social AP, different kinds of data that come from you in order to help you live a more functional life. And the quantified self movement, especially with products such as the Melon headband or the Nike Fuel Band or the Fitbit, really helping people pay attention to how they're living life and hopefully can have a better quality of life. We also like to think of concepts such as improved production. So this is much more hidden on the back end, and that comes into play with automated hardware, software programs, CAD programs, all of these things that help us produce clothing a lot better and hopefully someday produce better clothing domestically. And lastly, we like to consider the concepts of textile engineering. So often biomimicry can tie into making better textiles. And when we have better textiles, we can hopefully make better clothing. When we look at how knits are made, for example, knits are often created exactly for the pattern that you're using, so there's no excess. If you're knitting a sweater, you bind off where the fabric should end, so there's nothing being thrown away. How can we engineer textiles or wovens to fit these same methods in order to make a more functional system overall? So overall, the source code behind fashion tech, we like to say that it's innovation. And these are some of our favorite innovators in the scene in case you're looking to get more involved. Companies like Cute Circuit, Adafruit, Pebble Melon, Shapeways, etc. are all doing great things with either 3D printing or electronics, and all like to contribute to the world of wearables. And so last up, I have a little riddle for you guys, and I'll read it to you. If anybody can solve it, you'll get a 3D printed ring printed in collaboration with us and Shapeways. So the riddle is, I work with gems, but can't buy or sell them. I spend time in terminals, but never catch flights. I love rails, but rarely travel by train. Who am I? I heard it over there, yeah, Ruby programmer, code over there, so make sure to find me afterwards and get your prize. All right, thank you so much.